Hey guys, what's going on? It's your host, your boy George Mackay, back here on the Rewind. That's the MLW Rewind. That's right. And I never do this alone. I always do this, and you know this. Always do this with the one and only, my PIC, Mr. Grumpy, the one and only Uncle Bobby B.
I'm not grumpy, man. I don't sleep.
You're grumpy sometimes. You are grumpy sometimes.
I mean, aren't we all grumpy sometimes?
Yeah, but you more than that. Like, there's times where I'll call him and I'll be like, hey, man, we're going to discuss something on the podcast. And when I answer the phone, I always call him at the worst times. That's my fault, but I really don't know. It's not like I have a camera following.
You call me when I'm sleeping every
I don't know
time.
this. I don't know it. I don't know.
You know? Well, I take a midday nap like a normal person.
Midday nap. Fuck, I haven't midday nap since kindergarten. But hey, you do you, bro. You do you. Well, let's talk. Enough about your nap and sleep schedule. Let's talk about our favorite promotion. That is MLW, Major League Wrestling. And it was another kick-ass episode of MLW Underground. Obviously, this is going to premiere right after the episode. Spoilers ahead for anyone who has not watched the episode, or we're keeping you informed considering MLW is not available here in Canada right now, and they got to fix that. They got to get on that. Court Bauer's definitely got to get in other markets. And speaking of Court Bauer, we're going to touch on that lately because he made a rare, very rare on-camera appearance, which we'll get to a little later. But we kick this off with the epicness that is Real One and Mance Warner. This is the most comedic and entertaining story in all of MLW right now. Real One, what's funny about this is that he gets wheeled out to the ring with a crutch. So he's wheeled out to the ring and he's got one crutch. And you're not sure why, because if you can walk, usually you have two crutches because whatever happened. But again, we don't know.
One broken leg, one crutch.
Well, okay. Aiden's got a broken foot. He had two crutches.
Yeah, well,
maybe just wasn't in the budget for him to have two crutches. I don't know. But the fact is that he came out and we don't even know what really is hurt for Real One. We don't know if it's his leg, it's his hips, it's his back. We have no idea what the extent of his injuries from the Mance slaughter are. But he cuts a promo on Mance and the manslaughter, and he says, if you disrespect him, you're going to get the cops called on you. That's right. He's not going to fight. He'll just call the cops. He's threatened to call the cops on everybody. He's rolling around the ring, and he's like, Joe Dabrowski, I'll call the cops on you. And actually, when he was on commentary, which was hilarious, he actually said, Joe Schmo, striker, 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 Joe Schmo. It was pretty funny. It actually was. But at this point, Mance Warner's hurt enough. He was in the back. He comes storming out, looking all frustrated and ready to fight. And that's exactly what he wanted, Rob. He wanted to fight. And he didn't care if Real One was in a wheelchair. He didn't care. He wanted to fight. Just then, the calling card, camera angles happen. And we get this match. Yeah, we get this match right here. I'm having errors.
Yeah, it was Rickey Shane Page and Mance Warner as George is adjusting the screen. Now, there it is. Now it's a hardcore match. It's not a death match because Rickey is retired from death matches. And it's important to differentiate. A death match and a hardcore match are not the same thing.
They are not the same thing. And anybody who says, well, it kind of has the same, it's not. It is absolutely not the same thing at all. Yes, weapons are involved, but the stories that are told are very different. But what was cool about this, as I adjusted the camera, edit point, like Rob said, no, there's going to be no edit points. We're just going to keep going. Like Rob said, Rickey Shane Page answered the call, 1/3 of the Trust and Raven faction, if you will. They are the calling card faction, but also Trust and Raven. He came out with more henchmen. So there's more henchmen in this little Trust and Raven thing we got going on. And they also came out with a table full of weapons. Did you see some of those weapons? There was garden shears. There was a really big ass spike that Rickey grabbed first off. There was
Rickey had a knife at one point during this match. Not for the match, cut the turnbuckle off, but still he had a knife.
He had a knife. And there was also when they lifted up like the sheet that was on this table of weaponry, there was also that thing that was on infomercials that would help you pull out weeds.
Oh yeah, and you would like turn it.
Yeah, and then it would just pull out the weed. I don't know what it's called, but that was on the table as well. And I'm sitting there going, I know that could be used to hurt somebody, but when I look at that, that's not the first thing I see. I see, oh, that's going to help me, save my back from pulling out weeds. No. When wrestlers look at that, they go, yeah, that's gonna take a chunk out of someone. That's what that's going to be. So this match was incredible. Great way to kick off the show. We got to see Mance in his element. We got to see Rickey Shane Page in a layer of his element. And not only was the match great because of the hardcore stuff that they mixed in, but the match was great because of the wrestling. I mean, Mance bled instantaneously. And Rickey Shane Page really stepped it up in terms of the storytelling. And Ricky's always been a great storyteller. And I shouldn't have said stepped it up. That was the wrong word. But Rickey, he really carried this match in terms of how the story wanted to go. And he took a couple big bumps, man. There was when the 6 chairs were laid out, he took a bump right off the top rope through the 6 chairs. And then he took that DDT from the ring apron through the table to the outside. So Rickey Shane Page definitely, showing his moxie and the layers that he have. And again, you could say, oh, well, he does that stuff in the death match. Again, not the same thing. No matter what people say, like Rob said earlier, hardcore matches, death matches, not the same thing. In the same wheelhouse, yes, but not in the same, not the same thing at all. And this match ended because Rickey Shane Page got the win. And how did he get the win? Well, he could have got the win cleanly, but Mance is not one to go down. But real one, and that crutch, that one fucking crutch that came into clutch because he stood up out of the wheelchair, ran right over and knocked Mance Warner in the midsection with the crutch really hard, broke it in a couple different pieces. And then Rickey, did a move and boom, he got the win. And it was a great way to kick off this. And I wasn't sure how they were going to pack everything in. 44-minute episode. And this was about 15 minutes of it. And I was like, how are they going to pack the rest of this amazingness we got in? But they did, and they made it work. Rob, what's your thoughts on this hardcore match that kicked off MLW Underground?
Buddy, this match was fantastic. Everything about this match was good. And I'll tell you, Enzo, real one, came out, started doing his usual shtick. And, I'm not a big fan of that shtick. So I was kind of all right, what's happening here? It goes back on commentary. That's where he really shone. And not that he outshone the guys in the ring, but like that part where Enzo was speechless after that crazy huge spot they did, that to me was great. The fact that he just held off. He was quiet because he was so taken aback by the stuff.
Was priceless. His reaction was like,
right. I think that's not something we would have seen out of Enzo 5-6 years ago.
No, fuck
but
no.
There's a maturity level, I think, to that character that he's got now. And I really was enjoying the interplay between the three on the commentary and going to what was going on in the ring. These are two guys who have a lot of chemistry together. They've worked together before many times. It's always magic when they get together. I knew this match was going to happen soon. I didn't think it was going to happen this soon, but hell yeah. They beat the shit out of each other. Rickey doing Rickey Shane Page things. We were actually, 2 days ago, we were both chatting with Rickey at Destiny Wrestling in Mississauga. Sorry, 3 days ago on Sunday.
2 days ago.
Yes. Rickey was there, and he worked a 6-man match or 7. It was a
6-way scramble.
6-way scramble. And we were just chatting about MLW, and he's super excited. He said there's a lot of great things to come. We're excited. These two guys, what a great way to Rickey having his first, even though this happened prior to his contract, this is his first aired MLW match since he signed his contract. It was a kick-ass one. Really excited with what's going on right now in MLW. And let's keep on moving, because this episode was just loaded with gold.
Absolutely. Just one quick thing about this match before we move on to the next segment. At the end of the match, Mance Warner laid out in the middle of the ring. Rickey Shane Page took the calling card that we know so well, licked it, and stuck it right on the wound of Mance Warner. And I don't know what that means, but that's got to be some foreshadowing of some kind. With the way they built up the storyline, every little small detail, no matter how small it is, it means something. It absolutely does mean something. So what the calling card being stuck on Mance Warner's wound means, we have yet to know. But regardless of the fact, we knew this match was going to happen because Mance Warner called out the calling cards after they attacked Microman. And then this is the way that they responded. So, Trust and Raven, calling card crew, they are rolling full steam ahead. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some gold on these guys sooner than later in MLW, that's for sure. Next segment was a little bit of comic relief, but it ended with a little bit of flair, in my honest opinion. Billy Stark's taking photos. She's happy to be there. She's rocking. She's in the back. She's doing her photo shot. And who does she have standing right off to the side of the cameraman while he or her is trying to do some work? It's Taya Valkyrie, Johnny Fusion, Sam Adonis, and they're just mean girling. All three of them are mean girling. That's what they are flat out doing. They're mean girling, the three of them, all over Billy. To the point
Poor
where
Billy's getting bullied.
she's getting bullied. And you know what? She doesn't have her own hair and makeup team, according to Taya Valkyrie. Johnny Fusion said, "You quote unquote make me sick." And Billy stood her ground. She walked right up to Taya, got in her grill, and said, "So what's going on here? Huh? You and these two idiots?" Yeah, she looked both Sam Adonis and John Morrison in the face. "You two idiots? Mean girl and me, like you're bullying me? Is that what you're about now? You know what? I want the gold." Taya says, "Sorry, gold's not your color. Doesn't look good on you." Billy said, "You know what? Put up or shut up." So at first it looked like Taya was going to back off a bit, going to run around it a bit, but then she agreed. And we do know in a couple weeks, after the big fight we have next week, Fatu and Hammer 2, we got Billy Starks and Taya Valkyrie going for the featherweight championship. I loved this segment. I thought this segment was amazing. It was a great 2 minutes of relief from the amazingness we saw at the beginning, just to come down off that high from that awesome hardcore match. This is a great way to kind of settle you back in and get a few laughs out of you. What did you think of this segment, Rob? I loved it. I mean, we all know I'm a Billy Starks mark, and I love this segment.
I thought it was real good. I want to see from Billy. I want to see a little more. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for.
Gumption. A little more backbone.
A little more,
Aggression.
just kind of oomph. A little more intensity. Even though I feel wasn't like an intense promo per se. She was just kind of being like, I feel like she was like a little too casual with it. I just want to see her be a little meaner, a little with just in her delivery. But I said this last week. We're setting up Taya and Billy. I might go back and say I don't know now if Billy's going to be the one who dethrones Taya as the champion, but it's still a possibility.
I disagree with you. I think Billy will be the one to dethrone.
You think she's for sure going to be the one? Well, I said it last week, but I'm kind of unsure just because of the timing.
Think about this with the fact that Billy has got so much momentum in front of her now. MLW's putting her on camera. This is really her first on-camera run as a character within a company. She's not signed, but she's getting a storyline. This is her first on-camera storyline, major TV exposure. Why wouldn't they put a belt on her? Because they could be the ones. MLW could have the bragging rights to say, "We gave her first television gold. We did."
Sure, for sure.
So I think that's the logical way to go with the momentum that she has behind her. I 100% believe that.
And I could easily see that being the case. Just the only reason I think is that the timing. Like this is stuff that's filmed 2 months ago, you know? So I feel like if she did lose it already, we would know. Like we knew with...
Well, you know what? We would think we would know, but at the same token, I mean, we didn't know about Raven. We didn't know that it was Rickey Shane Page and Akira. We knew they were in MLW, but we had no idea it was Raven.
No, but
we had none. So
we knew the result of the main event tonight ages ago.
We did, but that's because it leaked on Twitter, just like we knew that 5150 showed up at Battle Riot before we saw Battle Riot that year. Yes, some stuff does leak, but if you really want to keep things a secret, if you really want to, it is possible. Not likely, but possible.
All right. Okay.
That's just my thought process on it. It's not, again, it's not likely.
That.
You are probably right, but I'm still going to hold hope.
Usually right.
No, you're not usually right at all. Okay, so moving on. Sorry, you set yourself up for that one. Moving on, we have Cesar Durant. He is donning us with his presence after his crew, if you will, were mean girling. He came out to introduce the next MLW middleweight champion, or so he said. Ley Estrella is coming out to face Lince Dorado for the middleweight strap.
Yeah, former allies, now enemies.
Well, we saw a couple weeks ago, we saw that in that 6-man action that we had. Ley Estrada was on Lince and Microman's team, and he walked out. He walked out on them, and obviously money talks and bullshit walks. So Ley Estrella, he's taking CD's money, if you will, and yeah, he's coming to try to take the gold, because right now, if you think about it, Cesar Durant's Azteca Underground, they're dripping in gold. They got the open weight strap. They got the featherweight strap. They don't have the tag straps, but they easily could if you put Sam Adonis and John Morrison in the same ring. They really could have a great shot at the tag straps as well. And they've also got some heavyweight contenders, again, with Sam Adonis and with Johnny Fusion. So why not have the middleweight title in the mix with Ley Estrella? And he's a great athlete. This match was subpar. I mean, at first it was a little slow for me, which is odd because a lot of lucha matches right out the gate, they just start so fast. But I could tell that this one was building to something, and it absolutely delivered. Because just when you felt that Lince Dorado was outnumbered by Cesar Durant, by the henchman, by Ley Estrella, who comes to the rescue, who slides out from underneath the ring with a Singapore cane in hand? Microman. And he saves the day. That wicked crossbody off the apron after he climbed up the stairs and threw the couple of the ropes to get to the right position. That crossbody was amazing. That henchman went down safely and securely, holding Microman in his grasp like a baby. And then Microman pulled out that cane. And let me tell you, he had CD on the run. He had Lea Estrella on the run. But Lea Estrella went back in the ring, and who's waiting for him? Lince Dorado hits that absolutely sweet shooting star, and bada bing, bada boom. Lince Dorado is still your champ. That's right, middleweight champion. This match was, as far as this episode goes, this match was the weakest on the card, not because I didn't find it to be entertaining, but compared to what we had in the beginning, what we had in our main event, this one had to be the weakest, and this one was, but it was still great entertaining, and I love the way they worked this one into the middle. It gave us the break between these big promo sections that we had, and it filled the void, and it gave us a couple extra matches, couple extra minutes, of wrestling, which I loved. What did you think about this match, Rob?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I thought these guys had good chemistry. Their timing and positioning was really good. They everything looked pretty good. With the crossbody from Microman, you know, I would have liked to see Microman just like kick him in the head a couple of times, because a crossbody from Microman, it's not as devastating as, you know, you would like to see him just like lay in a couple of shots just to really drive it home that like I'm fucking knocking you down here. Other than that, I thought it was a pretty good match. The way they advanced the story with Lastra and Lince Dorado, and of course, you know, like you said, there is your middleweight guy within Cesar's Lucha Underground faction. So I see the logic there, and like you said, somebody had to be the weakest link, and it was this match, but it wasn't a bad match by any standard, and it kind of just give you a little bit of a lull between the two high spots on the card, which was the opening match and the closing match.
Absolutely. Now, before we get to our main event, which is obviously for the tag team straps, that's Hustle and Power going against the SST. We have this. That's right, the contract signing for what is Super Fight 2, Hammer versus Fatu 2. Next Tuesday, we are literally a week away officially. After today's episode, we are 1 week away. That means next Tuesday, Rob and I are going to be soaking in Hammer versus Fatu 2, and I cannot wait because this buildup has been phenomenal. So, how does the contract signing start? Well, it starts with the owner of MLW. That's right, Court Bauer, coming out with a table with, I guess, 3 security or what could be lawyers behind him. I'm not really sure who those 3 gentlemen were.
All right. Let's address that right now.
Okay.
Now, I'm presuming...
Were they board members? Is that what you're thinking?
These 3 gentlemen were security.
Okay. But they looked like Jules and Vince.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. So
They looked like the way they were standing, they looked like they were there in some sort of security capacity. Now, I understand that it's not necessarily easy to find 300-pound large people to do a small segment like this.
It really is.
However, in the event that I'm watching this right off the beginning, right? This is before Hammer and Fatu have even. In the event that these 2 guys want to get physical, I don't see what those 3 gentlemen would hope to accomplish in terms of breaking it up. I was just looking at these 3 guys and I go, that's not gonna cut it. You're gonna need a bigger boat. You know what I mean? Like right off the bat. And then Court, God love him, and I don't mean to shit on the guy that runs the promotion that we enjoy so much, but I am glad he doesn't do a lot of on-camera roles, because his delivery was, and like I've heard Court speak publicly and he's well spoken, but just like it seemed a little not right when he was doing his lines and stuff like that. That was just how it came off to me. And again, I'm not bashing Court. Great mind. But he's smart in that he doesn't put himself on TV a lot. And I think I'm not saying anything that's new to him, but yeah, his line delivery was a little unconvincing, I suppose. But
okay. His lines didn't really have anything to move the story forward. He literally was just there to witness the contract signing and then sign himself. So his delivery, as much as I do see what you're saying, I don't necessarily agree with you because his delivery didn't matter.
every little piece in the puzzle plays a part.
I said that earlier with the calling card thing. It's not the same thing here. It's not. Anyways, look at the face I'm getting right now. You won't be able to see it when we're on SNME, but the face I'm getting right now is he's checked out. He's over it, all of it. And good thing we're almost to the tail end of everything, though. Only got me for like 15 more minutes, buddy. I love you. All right. So
anyways,
every piece in the puzzle matters according to Uncle Bobby B. That's fine. Okay, let's see if you guys can link the puzzle that I'm going to put together here, because there were some things that I did notice that I felt a little strange, and in the back of my head, wheels started turning. Now, we introduce Jacob Fatu. We introduce Alex Hammerstone. When Hammerstone comes out, he doesn't take his eyes off Fatu. Whereas when Fatu came out, he was pretty much just him and Court. He shook Court's hand. There was a smile, a little bit of an embrace. Some friendly words were exchanged. Hammer came out, eyes fully focused on Fatu. And when he shook Court's hand, it was like a dainty shake. It was like this, like fingers to fingers, not a full grasp of a handshake.
He gave him the worker shake.
Yeah, he gave him the worker shake. And I found that to be odd. And then it all sunk in about 30 seconds after that. We get the contract signed. Fatu signing quite big. Hammer signing quite big. I guess they were competing for whose signature was bigger. Then Court Bauer comes across the screen and it's just a little like that. And then the contract is signed, and in Court Bauer's words, it's official. He puts it down, slides it in that nice little, I always like how they have those like nice little leather folder holders. They're really nice, very nice.
Folio,
thank you. Very nice looking. And everybody has them. WWE must have a guy in the back that just makes them on retainer, like the table guy, I'm for sure, 100%. But the fact is Court Bauer then at that point, you know, he could say, good luck, gentlemen. We'll see you next week. But like Rob said, pieces of the puzzle matter. And he slides the contract into the folder. And he says, gentlemen, do you have anything to say? And he goes to hand the mic to Jacob Fatu. But Hammer says, yeah, I got something to say. Court Bauer, you don't want me to be your champion anymore. That's right, Court Bauer. You have a thing with the Samoans. You've always had a thing with the Samoans. And I don't understand it. And you don't want me to represent MLW. Well, I don't care who you put in front of me. And then he says to Jacob Fatu, I don't care who your family is, who your daddy is, who your bloodline is. And Fatu,
and that was that.
That was that. Fatu, once you mentioned Fatu's family, it was game fucking over. He lunged over Court Bauer, who actually was pretty good with his timing because he ducked. Very, very good. Mids, you know, Jacob Fatu coming over top of you. He ducked. They were exchanging blows. And like Rob mentioned, the utterly useless 3 security guards did not really pull the men off at all, but they were there for show. And I'm wondering, this is where my wheels got turning. Rob, go with me on this because you know I like to go on these long little journeys, if you will. What if Court Bauer was always the head of Contra? What if Court Bauer put the gatekeeper clause to stop Hammer from getting Fatu? Based off of what Hammer said, what if Court Bauer was always behind Contra?
No.
I just based off of what Hammer said, it got my wheels turning that a small percentage of it could be possible. I know Contra is dead in the water. The storyline is long and buried, but the fact that Hammer looked right at Court Bauer and said, you've always had a thing for the Samoans. You've always been obsessed with the Samoans, and you've never wanted me to be your champion and represent your company. I mean, you got to think, who kept Hammer at bay for so long? Contra, with Joseph Samael, with the gatekeeper clause. I mean, the percentage of what I'm saying is incredibly low. I know it is, but just in my head, that's right where I went. As soon as Hammer said that, I'm like, fuck me. Was Court Bauer the man behind Contra the whole time?
Well, what about the screen technical difficulties with the calling card and the flash of the octopus delivered to Hammer?
Yeah.
You catch that?
I did catch that. But right after we caught that, Hammer exploded with what he said. As soon as Court Bauer said it's official, do you guys have anything to say? It flashed, the octopus came out. So what if Court Bauer's behind the calling card? What if Court Bauer's behind every fucked up faction in MLW? Like, it's pieces of his personality that are split off. Maybe Court Bauer's got like 7 personalities. I don't fucking know. I know I'm going way off base here. I understand that. But I'm just saying, it was weird. And it was just odd timing that after literally holding the title for almost a year, building back up to this incredible match that we're going to see, because we know the sequel is going to outdo the original because Hammer's 100%, not like he was last time. But to have Hammer cut that promo the way he did on the owner of the company, it just seems odd to me. There's more than meets the eye based off that's a promo. And to do it a week out from this match, it's weird. It's just odd timing. It is. There's something deeper at play here.
We can agree to disagree there.
Okay.
I'll humor you. We'll see how it unfolds in the coming weeks.
Wow, you'll humor me? Okay,
well, I'll humor you.
All right, double fist yourself twice. Anyways, now it's time for the main event. That's right. It's time for the main event of the evening. That's right. Hustle and Power, they are defending their tag team straps against the Samoan SWAT Team. And the Samoan SWAT Team's got a lot of family in the house. That's right. Lance Onawani's wife, his kids, his cousins,
his mother,
sister, his mom, his dad. Everybody's in the building right now to witness history as Juicy and Lance take on EJ and Calvin for the tag straps. Samoan SWAT Team comes out first. They look focused. They look ready. And who's behind them? Right away. Not even cue their music. Boom. Hustle and Power come out. They kind of blindside the SST for a little bit, and it's an all-out brawl outside the ring. EJ kind of separates Lance. He's got him off to the side. You got Juicy and Calvin going at each other. They're grabbing chairs. They're ready to swing. And then what happens? They take a seat. That's right. They take a seat. I thought they were going to bring out a cup of tea and they were going to have crumpets. And they were going to talk about their battles. But no. What happened? What I wanted to happen, thank God, because if they brought out Tia, I would have been very pissed off. We got a forearm for forearm exchange showdown, and those two laid each other down pretty freaking good to the point where they were staggering. There was a little bit of staggering that was happening. Finally, we get, Lance and EJ in the ring, and the match begins after about a 5-minute brawl outside.
Yeah, it took a little while for that one to get going.
It did. After the brawl outside.
Officially.
Officially. The ref couldn't really get control. We got a brawl outside. We got Hustle and Power. And there were some moments in here that was phenomenal. And you know who stole the show for me? Juicy. We had an Irish Rip crossbody from Juicy Finau. We had Juicy Finau going to the top rope, getting pushed off by EJ, but then going again a second time. We had Lance hit 2 incredible frog splashes from almost 3/4 across the ring. He literally almost went coast to coast, diagonally across the ring. The agility that Lance showed in this match was effing incredible. But Juicy, a big man like that, flying the way he did, putting it all on the line. And you know what? I've always kind of said Juicy's out there to be the muscle. He's never shown me layers. Well, in this match, I'm going to bow down to Juicy Finau. He made me eat my words. This guy showed up for a fight because he knew it was on the line. And 1, 2, 3, Calvin Tankman takes the pin. Not EJ and Duca. Calvin Tankman takes the pin as EJ gets sent off to the... Oh, sorry. My apologies. EJ took the pin, did he not? Thank you. Sorry. My apologies. EJ took the pin as he gets sent off to the sunset, which was great. Calvin still looks strong because he didn't get pinned. Even though Hustle and Power is over, Calvin could go back to being a singles wrestler and look strong because he didn't lose the titles. They lost the titles together. And the SST is a new champs. Jacob Fatu comes out with Lance's mom and dad, and it's a celebration. And it was great to see everybody climbing in the ring together. They took that big family picture in the middle of the MLW ring. I loved it. I absolutely loved the ending of this match. I thought this main event kicked ass. And Juicy Finau was the MVP of this episode. He stole the fucking show for me. I never would have thought a man his size, his weight, would be able to fly the way he did. But Juicy impressed the hell out of me. And I'm all in on the SST right now. I was on the fence. I'm all in now.
Both these guys really impressed me. And the only part that I was kind of little was when, Juicy loves to do that stacked Samoan drop. When he had EJ up and he went to go get Calvin, I'm like, okay, that's like 600 and change pounds. I'm like, there's no fucking way he's got, like, the world record squat's like 1,000 pounds or something like that. Like, I'm like, there's no way he's getting these guys up. But even though I kind of knew he wasn't going to get it, I was still like, oh, but is he though? Like, Calvin's climbing up there. But still, great match. I'm super happy for these two guys. Juicy's been kicking it on the indies a while. Lance, I think, is newer as far as, but I could be mistaken. Great to see these guys have a taste of championship, of title gold. They really deserved it. They've been working hard the last year or so in MLW. Their matches and their promos have been fantastic. They've been entertaining. Super happy for them. It was a great match. EJ didn't phone it in at all, knowing that this was probably his last match.
He absolutely did. Absolutely did.
He went out there and worked hard, and much respect to EJ and appreciation for him. for everything he did in MLW. But yeah, it was a great way to end off what was otherwise a fantastic show. One thing I wanted to actually ask you about, George, because you are a film guy and I am not. And I was watching this, and did because okay, frame rate, like a soap opera would be filmed at a different frame rate than like a movie,
Yes, movies are
and that would be
24
different than
frames
like
per
a live
second.
sporting event.
Yes, movies are 24 frames per second. Live sporting events now are 25 frames per second. And television shows like soap operas back in the day were 29.97. Now they're at 30 frames per second.
So what do you think this was filmed at?
This looks to me like it was filmed almost like a crossbred hybrid, if you will. I've noticed that it's very cinematic at points. I want to say they film it in a 24 to 25 cross frame, if that makes sense. I think some of the cameras are set to 24, some are set to 25 to give that juxtaposition when they edit it. It looks, the way they're doing it now, who's ever in charge of the production just kicked it up a notch, man. Underground has been phenomenal, but it looked much more slicker in this episode than it did in any other ones.
Yeah, just the frame rate, like everything was coming off more cinematic to me, I guess, than I'm used to. Maybe that's just me, but I
Maybe they
definitely
filmed the
noticed
whole
like,
episode in 24 frames then, because 24
yeah,
frames is
it
film.
looked different than like other professional wrestling that I've seen. Maybe that was just me. I was watching it on my iPad. I don't know, but
Maybe we were just so enthralled with this episode that everything looked dreamlike.
And it wasn't. This isn't a criticism. It's just literally a comment on. I noticed it, and it was different than what I'm used to. Doesn't mean good or bad.
It added to your I guess your enjoyment of the episode, we should say.
It was an interesting thing that I observed. It was a Robservation.
Well, let's not start that. We all know Holitude didn't start. Let's not fucking start that, okay? At all. The cloud
You're like a Robservation right now, you dick.
Okay, listen, asshole. Go back through the archives, watch my latest conversation with Alicia Altitude. I asked her point blank, what did you think of Holitude? She said it was never a thing. Quote unquote. Never.
You were never a thing, okay?
I'm here right now.
Oh, also.
What a jerk. Fuck you.
Shout out to Sam Lanterna. She was doing commentary yesterday.
I was just getting to that.
Oh, did I steal your thunder, Sunshine?
A little bit. Shout out to the connection that I made. No, shout out to Sam Lanterna. We spoke to her. We're gonna set something up to get her on the rewind to talk all things MLW and how amazing she has been as the backstage correspondent, if you will, getting those interviews, seeing who she likes, who she likes interviewing, who she might be a little bit intimidated by, if you will. All those.
Let me tell you,
we're gonna get that in to go very, very soon.
I asked a couple of the wrestlers about the commentary team and Sam Lanterna, and this is not like a kiss ass thing to say. This is legitimately, more than one wrestler told me she seemed extremely prepared. She went around before the show, asked them a whole bunch of questions to get information to use for color commentary and stuff like that. So she is clearly a professional, and we're enjoying what she's doing at MLW. We're going to set something up, have a chat with her. Super excited to get her on the show. But yeah, it was even Alicia was there on Sunday. It was a very MLW connected show, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, thank you,
Rob. Thank you, Rob, for reiterating everything I just said 30 seconds before you. And as always, guys, this is the MLW Rewind. I'm your host, your boy, George Mackay, and he is
Uncle Bobby B, baby.
And this, like I said, this is the MLW Rewind. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube, listening to us on SNME, and again, just bringing us into your lives every week so we can discuss MLW with you. It's a true honor and privilege that we get to shoot the shit about wrestling and that people give a shit enough to listen to what we have to say.
Thank you for tolerating us.
Absolutely. Thank you for tolerating Rob. I do.
Your wife tolerates me.
I don't know how to respond to that. Yeah, my wife tolerates you. Yeah, I tolerate you too. Fuck's sakes. All right, anyways, I don't know if that was supposed to be a wife burn that didn't work out well. I'm not sure where he was going with it. Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you guys next time.
Adios.